Hi, welcome in this video about how do I align controls in the report in Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2013 R2. I'm Erik Wouters, a Microsoft Dynamics NAV MVP from Belgium. I'm creating this video for you in collaboration with Platan. At the end of this video, you should be able to properly place your controls on a report. In fact, use the tools, function and all that is available in Visual Studio to do this in the most efficient way and to bring more speed in your report development. The objective of this video is just to explain you what aligning means and how you do it in Visual Studio. And we'll do that just by a very simple report and putting some controls in it and align them, but also looking at a built-in report. So let's look at the steps that we will take to explain you about alignment in reports. First of all, we'll explain what alignment is. So at least you'll know what we're talking about in the next 3 steps. Then first, we'll do it a simple way. We'll align it with the mouse. We're just using the mouse. Next, we'll do it a little bit more advanced by using the tools that are provided by Dynamics NAV. So we'll use the toolbar, the properties, the ruler. And next we will look at the built-in report, a report we all know, the sales invoice, and verify what we have learned. We will look if it is properly aligned and maybe how we can easily rectify what is missing or what is not good. So let's get started. First, let's explain what we mean with alignment. I will do that by taking you to the development environment of Microsoft Dynamics NAV and go from there. I will not explain you how to create reports, as this is not the focus of the video. Now, to explain you what alignment is, it doesn't really matter what the report does. It does matter how the controls look like. Now, when we're talking about alignment, we can talk about horizontal and vertical alignment. Let's first do the horizontal. As you can see, my controls are on one line, or one row in fact. When we talk about perfectly alignment, we talk about the tops of the controls being the same, or the bottoms. We can also talk about horizontal spacing. And then we're talking about the space between the controls, that they should be the same. An example of what I call bad alignment, bad horizontal alignment, is this. You see that the tops and the bottoms of the second control is not aligned with the others. And also the spacing between the control is not the same either. So this is badly aligned. We can say the same about the vertical alignment. But then we're talking about lefts and rights of controls that should be the same. In my case, I have aligned the lefts. And we talk about the spacing between the controls. Now, again, a bad example of this vertical alignment is this. You see that the lefts are not the same anymore, and even the rights are not the same. And the spacing between controls is totally different. This is a badly messed up report. When we're talking about centering, we're talking about something like this. You see that the controls are centered on the canvas. We can center on a page like this, or we can also center within a group of controls. You can see that I placed the controls in a group, in a rectangle actually. So they are part of the rectangle and they are centered within that rectangle. So now we know what alignment is. Let's go to the next step. First of all, let's apply alignment, or let's do alignment with the mouse. Now here you can see my messed up report, and let's align those controls. Now when I take the control with my mouse, I can move it. And as you can see, when I move it next to another control, you see the blue lines. These are the lines that help you align your controls. So let's first horizontally align all my controls and move them to a better place on the report. Now when you move the controls, you see that it jumps to the possible places you want them to jump to. Now sometimes you don't want this. Now when holding down the control key, this help in aligning your controls completely disappears. That can help you when you don't want the alignment option. But in my case I want it, so I release my control and you can see the lines are back. Now, in terms of spacing, dragging and dropping with the mouse can help you as well. Now, let me do that again. And as you can see, when I come closer to my control, you can see the spacing. You can see that it is now 5 points away. And if I go closer, you can see the number of points reducing. Obviously, for the vertical spacing and the vertical alignment, it's the same. So if I drag it below, you can see the points for the spacing and also the blue lines for the alignment. In a way, aligning with the mouse just comes down to dragging and dropping your controls and just looking at the lines and the spacing that shows on the screen. So let's go into more advanced alignment by using the toolbar and all the tools that Visual Studio provides. The toolbar that we want for the aligning controls is the layout toolbar. When you push for the options and run the remove buttons, you can see all the alignment options you actually have. For your and my convenience, let's put them all on my toolbar. All these options are also available in the format menu, where you've got your alignment for centers and left and rights, where you've got your spacing, horizontal spacing and vertical spacing, and even working with sizes. And now it's all just logical. I'm not going to drag and drop. What I'm going to do is select all the controls that I want to be part of my alignment, that I want to align, and go from there. So I've got my toolbar and I say I can align the lefts, I can align the centers, and I can align the rights. And it's the same for the horizontal alignment. I just select my control. I can either align the tops, align the bottoms, and also align the centers. What about the spacing? The spacing buttons are located here. As you can see, I can make the same horizontal spacing, and it's going to make all these even. And it's going to do that with the right and the left control in mind. So let me say this control, this should be here, and this control should be here, and now the spacing of all the controls should be the same. I can even spacing. And obviously the same happens for the vertical spacing. Like I want to have it between here and here. I select my controls and I want to have a vertical spacing equal. Now I can also increase, decrease, or remove the complete spacing between the controls, which is useful as well. And obviously the same again for the horizontal. Now suppose you want to center controls, then it's basically kind of the same thing. Just select your controls and push the center button. Now in this case I want to center the controls vertically on this page. But sometimes you might want to also vertical center controls. Now for controls this doesn't make much sense, but basically it's just vertically center. Also worth mentioning is the ruler. We add the ruler by just clicking report view and then ruler, and as you can see I have some kind of help instrument to help me to put controls on my report. I can have an idea on where I am putting my controls. Now personally, I'm always working in centimeters, not in inches, so you can change that just by changing the report properties. Like this. Now the last tip I would like to give is the location property. The location property is a property of a control that holds the location, obviously. Now the location can be defined by a left position and a top position. So in fact, the left top corner of the control. So when I left align controls, actually I make this property the same for all controls. When I top align control, I make this property the same for all controls. So I think we now have a good overview in how we can effectively and efficiently align controls on a report. Let's now apply this on an already built-in report, being the sales invoice, and see what the alignment is like. To have a good overview on the alignment of the controls, it's a good idea to just zoom into your controls. And I do this by adding the report toolbar. Let's only look at the header, as when speaking of alignment, that makes most sense. Now, when we zoom in, and when I say zoom in, I really mean zoom in, we actually immediately see that something is not perfect here. So you see the overlapping controls, you see the tops that are not aligned. Well, it's not like we want it to be. So let's zoom that out and start fixing the report. First of all, I want to fix the first part, being the customer address. What I want to make sure is that the sizes of all these boxes are the same. So I make it the same width and I make it the same height. Next, I want to left align the controls. So that's this button. And finally, I want to remove all the vertical spacing to make sure that they are right below each other. And that's it. If we now zoom in to this, you see that it looks much better. I don't have overlapping controls anymore. So let's do the same with this part. In this part we have two columns. And when we zoom in, you see that the tops are not aligned either. So we need to take care of that. First, the left part. Let's select all the controls, make them again the same size and align them on the left and remove the spacing. Then the right part. Let's make them all the same size. Let's align them left